evening, Barbados. Good evening, the world. Good evening, the Caribbean. This is Marcia Weeks, and you are watching the Marcia Weeks show. And I'm coming to you live from Barbados. Beautiful Barbados. How are you doing? Had a good day? I tell you, there is not a dull moment in Barbados. Not a dull moment, I tell you. It's been one thing to the next. Oh my goodness. What is going on? Let me know if you're hearing me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me properly. Oh my Lord, people have been logged on and we are ready to go. Great things are happening in Barbados. We are standing up for democracy. We are standing up with our voice. We're saying that when we lose our fear, they lose their power. That's what we're saying in Barbados. All 280,000 of us standing up on this rock, and we're saying, this is our rock that God has given us, and we're taking charge. Yes? And that's why we have all enlisted in the opposition. All 280,000 of us, eyes wide open. And we are watching everything that is happening in this country. And we know that we have the right to call for transparency. We have the right to call for accountability because we put them there. We put our leaders there. We put our leaders there. All 280,000 of us. We are the opposition. We are the opposition. I know we're not in Parliament. In Parliament, there is Mr. Ralph Thorne. Yes, that we are very, very grateful that he sits in Parliament, and we have two opposition senators in the Senate. But we'll hold up their hand and we reinforce them from the outside. That's what we do, because we know who we are. Good night, everybody. I am excited tonight because great things are happening in Barbados. Great things. Bajan boy, you've been waiting all afternoon. He's been waiting since 2:56. FX trading. Oh, good night. Good night, 3:05 p.m. Because I saw the daytime. I'm getting mixed up. Oh my Lord. Yes. Hi, Suspicious Mind. Suspicious Mind talking about those lockdowns that that they're trying to bring that all up again to do what they want to do. But all we've got to say is no. You know that. And there's some people on this island, they're planning, they're seeking to plan elections, because the last election, you know what happened? Quite a number of thousands of us did not get to vote. We didn't get to vote. Why? Because some people were sick, and for some reason they decided to change what the Constitution says. And because those people had a little sniffle and a cough, they decided that you were not eligible to vote, and they did not allow those people to vote. And I can tell you that all the other countries, I tell you, Queen Bee, that had elections in COVID allowed their people to vote. They made provisions for their people to vote because it's against their constitutional right. But this country, Barbados, under our autocratic government, decided. They made the decision. The Prime Minister used her executive order, made that decision that the people who are sick could not vote. Not that the people said they didn't want to vote, but she made a decision on behalf of those people. While in Jamaica, they made arrangements. They made it in the Bahamas and in any other place that I researched online. If you can find another country that did not allow their people to vote, let me know, please. I don't know of it yet. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I didn't see it. Yeah. And so I agree with you, Suspicious Mind. We have to be careful. When we lose our fear, they lose their power. And we're not going to be fearful of this other thing that they say coming, because they want to do lockdown. And if they think that they're going to lock us down and a certain set of us will not vote in this country again, they have another guest coming. Thanks to Philip, who Philip, I'm looking for his name here. Why am I not getting it? Philip Springer, who took them to court. He lost his fare, yeah, and he took them to court. He took them to court. When we lose our fare, they lose their power, and he's appealed the case, and it's going on. That case is going to be continuing on behalf of those Barbadians whose constitutional rights were taken from them. And that is what they are intending to do once more. And this government, be careful, they're planning to do something when they hear another pandemic, is in the when they've designed another pandemic, then they call the elections and shut off quite a number of people from voting. So be careful of that. Be careful of that. ADG, good evening. Yes, Ansel Seeley, good evening. Janetta Calendar, good evening. Are we sharing? Are we liking? Tonight is a night of education. Tonight is a night of inspiration, motivation, agitation. Important that you share. So can you take a moment now and make sure you're shared? There are 384 of you you're on, and it's only 6 minutes past 7. So if all 385 share, I believe it's going to trigger the algorithm, and the people are going to come on. Send it in WhatsApp groups. Okay? Yes? Yes, we are all fighting for the people of Barbados. Junie Rock, Kamar, happy Friday to all. It's me. Good evening, Judy Jilks. Now, tonight, good evening, Judy Jilks. But tonight, Judy and everybody else, we're doing something a little different because people are having trouble getting on using the link. The StreamYard link is a little not very friendly. So I'm going to try with my telephone number. All right. So I know Dave is going to put that number up as a banner where you can come in. You can call into the studio, but you're going to call in between 9 and 10. Because I want to hear your views on what is happening in Barbados, what's happening to our democracy. What I want to hear what your thoughts are about this expulsion that has happened in one of our, political parties, a party that has been in existence in Barbados for over 60-something years, the Democratic Labour Party that was started by Errol Barrow, the first Prime Minister of Barbados. And I want to hear your thoughts on that. And again, we're going to make sure everything stays clean. We don't curse on the show because I know tempers are flying and people are excited and so on and so forth. And we're going to make sure that whatever we say, that it's done with grace and with courtesy and all of those other things. And specifically, we want to move the conversation along and to ask the question, will this be beneficial to Barbados, to the democracy of Barbados? This expulsion, is it important that the DLP is a strong party? Is it important that the DLP is a strong party? So we're going to, on that banner, we're going to let people know, you call in. Please call in. Don't call in now, please. Please, let's put on it that they call in between 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. I cannot accommodate you before that time, okay? Please, so let's call in, right? Yeah? Okay. All righty, folks. All righty. I can't say goodnight to all my wonderful people. I see you all here. I'm going to go straight into the national anthem. So we're going to, and that's why, that's our theme song. Strong people stand up for themselves, but stronger people stand up for others. Yes, and that's what we're all doing on this program tonight. That's what we're doing by the help of Almighty God, not in our own strength, but in the strength of God. We are standing up in the strength of God, in the strength of God. All right, so we're going to go right into the national anthem. So yes, Barbados. Yes, Barbados. This is our theme. This is our theme. And when we're not defending this, when we are not defending this, when we're about our own ambitions, when we're about our own ideals and our own, we want to do, think about this. Think about country. What are the best decisions for country? What are the best decisions for country? What have I done for my country? Is it all about what I want? When was the last time I made a sacrifice, a personal sacrifice of Barbados? Is Barbados on my mind? Huh? And I think when we can answer that, when we can, decide that we're going to focus on Barbados, I tell you, we're going to come out really triumphant as a country. Wonderful, wonderful. I love the anthem. How about you? All right. Well, we are going to go straight to Mrs. Rose Corbin, and she has a presentation for us tonight. And after she's finished her presentation, then what we're going to do, we're going to look a bit at exactly what has transpired today. What we got up, well, it happened last night where we had the president of the Democratic Labour Party was expelled, and so was the General Secretary, Steve Blackett. And so we want to look at that and what does that mean for Barbados? Some people are very, very happy. Some people are worried. Some people are angry, all kinds of emotions. And we want to break that down. We want to look at the structure, the hierarchical structure of the DLP. We also want to look at, as I said, what does that mean for Barbados? And I want you to get all your questions ready and let us look at that, because at the end of the day, what really, really matters, it's about our country and what is best for our country. It's not what is best for our own ambitions, as I said earlier, and our favorite people and anything like that. What is best for Barbados at this particular juncture? Very, very important. And I think I will know when Mrs. Corbin is ready. She is going to give me a thumbs up. A thumbs up. I wonder if I can just start something while I'm waiting on her. Okay, let's see. Oh, I think she's ready. She is ready. Mrs. Corbin is ready. Should I put her in the? She's coming. Yes, somebody says leaders. Leaders do not tear down their business, and in this case, their party. No, if you build your business, you're not going to tear it down. You're not going to tear it down. Do you remember? I know people like Easy D and so on. Going to be some people don't like when I talk from the Bible. I'm just speaking here until Rose comes. And this is in relation to the DLP, the expulsion of the president and the general secretary. Do you remember in the Bible there was a king, King Solomon? Okay, remember King Solomon, right? And King Solomon, in his kingdom, there were two women that were claiming that there was a baby, and that the baby was their baby. All right. So somebody said, well, somebody's baby died and they took my baby. And the other person said, it's my baby. And the other person said, no, it's my baby. And you know what King Solomon did? King Solomon decided that he took the baby and said, okay, let me cut this baby in half. And somebody could say, wow, he's cutting the baby in half. Oh my God, look at what he's doing. That's wicked. He's going to kill the baby. But he was, Solomon, they said, was the wisest man. And so he decided to lift the sword to cut the baby in half. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? He decided to cut the baby in half. And what happens? The mother, the real mother of the baby, started to scream out and said, you know what? Give the baby to the next lady. And guess what? Solomon knew exactly who the mother of that child was. The mother who said, "Don't hurt the baby," was the rightful mother. Her heart, she could not sit back and watch her child be destroyed. And I say the same thing. I say the same thing about this situation. If you, if you are, your decision is that if I cannot get what I want, I am going to destroy this thing. The question is, where's your heart? Where's your heart? Were you really ever part of this thing? Was it ever really part of you? That baby was part of that mother. Yes, yes. When the mother said, "Kill the baby, cut the baby," and the mother that's screaming and said, "No, don't do it." That's the mother who really cares. And sometimes, Easy, do you remember that story from the Bible? And a lot of times, those things happen, these things happen, and we see the true heart of the people. If you can't get your way, and your answer is, and your response is, "Well, let's burn this whole thing down, we're gonna destroy it," then really, really, it's saying, was my heart really part of this thing? Yeah, that's right, V Hoy. That's right. They decide this entire bridge is going to come down because I cannot have my way. And so I'm saying to you tonight, without us, we have not gone into some of the facts that I have, but I'm saying, let's take that analogy and look at it, and let's be mature. Listen, it's all about this. And I'm waiting. I really am waiting, because on Rose Corbin. This. It's about Barbados. And I see some of you are excited that Barbados, you said, will get 30 love. Do you understand what that is? I want you to understand what you're saying. I'm passionate. I'm not angry. I'm passionate about my adopted country. I am passionate about it. That's why I come on this chair. Nobody pays me to come on here. I'm passionate about my adopted country, and I'm asking you, why are you so gleeful that Barbados will get another 30-0? Do you understand what that means? Come on, people, let's be mature. Let's put on our patriotism. Let's put on our blue, yellow, and black. And he said it's not yellow. I forgot what Mr. Glein says. That is it gold? He calls it the yellow part a different name. But let's put it on tonight. Yeah. So let us analyze, as you said, in relation to the country. Let's for once put your own desires aside and pick up country. When are we going to do that for Barbados? Huh? No, it doesn't. And the people who say the expulsion speaks trouble, no, it doesn't. No, it does not. No, it does not. If you continue to speak that over your country, listen, do you want to live in a one-party state? Is that what you want to do? We're going to get in that a little bit. Let me go to Miss Corbin because time is going. And we're good night, Mrs. Corbin. Are you ready?
Yes, please. I'm here, Marcia. May I be permitted to be off camera?
That's why I misunderstood. Yes, go right ahead, because we have limited time. We have to stop at your section at 8 o'clock. So
Yes,
go right
please.
ahead. I am so sorry about that. I misunderstood.
Your permission, please, to be off camera. It's been one of those days, and I'm not camera ready like you, ma'am.
That's okay. And I thank you for this sacrifice. I really do. And we
Yes,
look
please.
forward to what you have tonight. Go right ahead, Mrs.
Yes,
Corbin.
please. Thank you. Good evening, loyal sons and daughters all, firm craftsmen of her faith, and I'm pleased to be
Is
with
it your fan that is close to the microphone? Be
Oh,
careful.
yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Is it better now?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, please. I'm sorry. And as always, I look forward to sharing with you. Um, I had to do a rethink on what I would have presented tonight based on a remark, a comment, which I found to be quite serious,
Mm-hmm.
that came out of the St. Andrew Parish Speaks.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I heard it, and then I listened and shook my head, and then I saw it, the comment was recorded either in the Nation or the Barbados Today. So I felt that I should, do um, a presentation on it. So it's all about salt tonight, all
Yes.
about salt. And so here we go, Marcia. And the next slide, let's contextualize it. The uses of salt. Salt plays a crucial role in maintaining human health. It is the main source of sodium and
Mm-hmm.
chloride ions in the human diet. Sodium is essential for nerve and muscle function and is involved in the regulation of fluids in the body. Salt is also used to flavor and purify and preserve. Next slide, please. And this is the context in which I am going to speak on the topic salt. This constituent of St. Andrew at St. Andrew Parish Speaks on Wednesday night um, made this remark amongst others. And as quoted, I pay taxes for 31 years and 8 months, and I shouldn't be getting that. I shouldn't be getting I should be getting a bus when I want a bus,
Mm.
not going to the bus stand and sit down like I begging for salt. And that
Mm.
term begging for salt has been a term that I grew up on, had not heard it, Marcia, for years.
Mm.
And I racked my brain to recall when I would have heard that term used. Begging for salt, Marcia, connotes that you have nothing else to do, that you have reached that down and out stage or state that you got beg for a pinch of salt, that you have been relegated to that position of beggarliness, of
Mm.
begging, and look what you're begging for. And I started to consider what are the other things that this particular administration has us positioned in that state of begging for salt. We are accustomed to the term sucking salt. Nobody wants to suck salt.
Mm.
You may sprinkle it on a fruit to add flavor I know people that sprinkle it. I know a friend of mine who was pregnant and sprinkled it on cheese, to get a little flavor. But we are accustomed to hearing sucking salt. And when you got suck salt, it means again that you're begging for salt. It's like that you've reached a stage where there is nothing else in your cupboard, nothing else you can do but take a pinch of salt and suck it. Because
Mm-hmm.
too much of salt is good. It's a paradox. Salt is good, but too much
Yes.
salt worsens it. So this is what this person, and I was impressed that this person could count the years and down to the months that they have paid taxes, and now this is the position that they're in. And so tonight's question is, we are all taxpayers, whether we are all taxed, whether we are retired, whether our salaries are not taxed, our pensions are not taxed. Certainly, the VAT we have to pay, whether pensioner or not, um, all the other taxes, and we are still sitting down like we're begging for salt. Next slide, please. So, what we are begging for salt, what do they have us begging for salt for? And these are the same things. And Marcia, as we progress, and I am preparing myself and others for the move that will be made on us that might catch us unawares, like that was suddenly brought on us in 2022 when we least expected in the midst of COVID. We least expected
Yes.
to be called to the polls. And so, Marcia, you will hear me referring to these slides that I would have shared with Bamba Leah Bambala last week. They
Yes.
are begging us, they have us in a position begging for salt with the unkept and broken promises made in 2021, 2018, sorry, manifestos. They have us begging for salt, like we're begging for salt when we have to access goods and services and healthcare from the QEH, the Ministry of Education, BRA, pensions, NIS, multiple taxes on already overburdened income, the conditions of the public sector. You go for services in the public sector and state-owned enterprises, and you don't get the services in a timely fashion, if you get them at all, because of understaffing, favoritism, supersession, inadequate and lack of resources to do the work. They have us begging for salt as we sit by and see the highly paid consultants displacing public servants who can do the work. Here's could I see a little bit more of that slide, please? They have us begging for salt, um, as that lady did with public transportation, waiting so long to get a Shory bus, Shory village bus, Shory village bus. They have us begging for salt, as taxpayers for timely garbage collection. They have us begging for salt as they can bring under control crime and violence. The next slide, please. Begging for salt when we look on at the many government ministries headed by ministers with ministers of state, with ministers from the Senate as well as consultants, all with highly paid salaries and allowances, and we begging for salt. And they're due to get early pensions, while the average Barbadian is struggling and suffering at begging for salt, sitting down begging for salt. We're begging for salt with the bad road conditions, the water issues, the
Mm.
pileup of unclean bodies in the morgue. Keep these uppermost in our minds as we are moving progressively
Yes.
and probably swiftly into elections. We're begging for salt, read the cybercrime bill, the disregard for the Auditor General and the Public Accounts Committee led by the leader of the opposition, Honorable Mr. Ralph Thorne. We're begging for salt. They have us behaving in that
Yes.
position when we see the putting down and the disregard for persons who do not agree with their policies and practices that are not in the best interests of the Barbadian public. Next slide, please. I am reiterating it. We're begging for salt on matters relating to housing, the Hope Housing Issue, transparency and accountability, reading money spent on the T20 World Cup and Ocean. And we heard in, I think I read it in the Barbados today, where Anthony Wood said that what Noah Lynch would have said about the gains and the profits from the T20 World Cup, that is far from the truth.
Yes.
And I'm coming to that later. We are begging for salt on the South Coast Suez matter. We're begging for salt as we look on to see what they are calling the
Mm.
redevelopment of Barbados. We're begging for salt. When we see the lack of representation by MPs, the untruths pass for truth, and making excuses for mishandlings by MPs and ministers. We are begging for salt. That woman's comment resonates,
Mm.
Marcia. Could we look at the next slide, please?
Yes.
And these are the things, the haste with which they passed the
Mm.
bill, the high and ever increasing cost of living got us begging for salt and sucking salt. The boring, boring, and begging, the favors and paddling of pockets for kin and kids, while we are begging for salt. Well, we are sitting in the bus stand, while we're sitting at QEH, while we are waiting for delayed pensions or deferred, but we have to put up with all the sidelining in our very own native land. We are begging for salt. May I look at the next slide, please? And here's what I looked at also. Not worth his salt. He is not worth his salt. It's a common expression. It originated in ancient Greece, where salt was traded for slaves. Roman soldiers were paid salt money.
Yes.
Salarium argentum. I'm not happy on, I'm too good on Latin. I did French and Spanish at school, from which we take our English word salary. My next slide then asks
Mm.
this question: are they worth their salt, Marcia and the audience? The parliamentary representatives, the MPs, the ministers, the appointed senators who hold ministries, the ministers of state and senior ministers. You see how much we got getting salt? You see how many people are getting salt out
Mm.
of the government coffers? All of these persons in the
Yes.
various ministries and the many consultants. My question to myself and to the others: are they worth their salt? Next question. I'm throwing out the questions. You can answer, and it's left to you to make your decisions when you hear the bell is rung.
Yes.
And there's another expression: taking it with a pinch of salt. And we came along hearing sucking salt,
The
worth the
salt.
salt, worth your salt, and now it's taking it with a pinch of salt. And what does the expression take it with a grain or pinch of salt mean? This expression is primarily used in cases where the authenticity of information is questionable. Marcia, you've had a case and I'm interacting with you. You have had a case just recently, case in terms of a matter, case in terms of a legal case,
Mm-hmm.
where the authenticity of the information was questionable. We have had a case where Chantal Monroe Knight, the minister in the Prime Minister's office, the senator in the Prime Minister's office, responsible for culture, saying that we call it crop over was a huge success. And
Mm-hmm.
again, talked about the critics who just wanted to criticize. And then came Carol Roberts, the CEO, who admitted that there were indeed several and major issues with crop over, and the buck stops at her.
Mm.
She assumes responsibilities for the criticisms, for the shortcomings. But yet, on the other hand, we have the effervescent, effusive Dr. Chantel Moore saying how wonderful it was.
Mm-hmm.
Whose comments or remarks or assessment do we take with a grain or pinch of salt? You make the decision, because the authenticity of information we receive from this government, when they do good, we will say good. When it needs to be with a pinch of salt, because we question the authenticity and we see the spuddling and the back and forth, and they had to go back and they changed the narrative and there are contradictions. We are challenged to take these utterances with a
Mm.
pinch of salt.
Of salt.
Taking it with a pinch of salt points towards a skeptical attitude about the absoluteness of a statement, opinion, or thought. Therefore, it encourages people to hold reservation about something they hear, as there might be chances that it is false, misleading, or inaccurate. My question to ourselves: what are some of the things that we have to take with a pinch of salt from the administration? I think about the money borrowed for the World Cup. I think about the money spent on oysters. I think about the borrowing, the loans, for example, the monies that they borrowed. No, they said it was a gift from the Chinese government. I don't know if many of you recall that, to rebuild the stadium. Yet there was a memorandum of understanding signed between the representative from the Chinese embassy here and the now permanent secretary in the Ministry of Sports.
Yes.
The Minister of Sports, Mr. Charles Griffith, a man whom I like, um, um, did not sign it. But if you listened, no, they are telling us it is a gift. They are making us feel, and hence the Prime Minister at St. Andrew's Parish Speaks talked about some more buses that are being gifted to us from China. Should I take that with a pinch of salt? Because the stadium is not a gift, it is a loan. And the representative from the Chinese embassy said, now the process begins where we have to go back to China and tender, set out for tenders for the project. Now, I will quickly say, Marcia, that when
Yes.
that tender goes out, remember what happened with Barbadians. They are going to bring in all the resources from China. They're going to bring in the laborers. They're going to bring in their foods. We're not going to get, yes, we might get a few local contractors, but how much? And the loan that we are getting from them that we have to repay with interest, we will be paying them for that loan beyond the repayment. Do you follow me, Marcia?
Yes, correct. Correct. Correct.
And so
Wow.
my question is, are we going to continue begging for salt? Are we going to continue sucking salt? How long can we remain in this state? And suspicious minds, I agree with you. I'm reading from the chat. Google says a high intake of salt can cause high blood pressure and you must change your government. I say it, you say it.
Suspicious minds.
I
And
say it.
we have another 3 minutes, literally three
All right,
minutes
I'm
left.
wrapping up now, Marcia. I'm wrapping up. And here we go to the next last two slides, I think. When the usefulness, when salt has lost its usefulness.
Hmm.
And the question is, what happens to salt when it ceases to be effective? I can only quote from the book by which I live, the Bible, and I came along hearing that we are the light and the salt of the earth.
Hmm.
But if the salt have, and it is plural here, one would have thought that it would be if the salt has. But remember, they said E or you are, and this you is both singular and plural. I am taking it to mean you now, my fellow Barbadians. But
Mm-hmm.
if you, the salt, or if the salt that represents leadership in this land, governance, have lost his or their savor, wherein shall it be salted? It is therefore good for nothing. The Bible said it, but to be cast out and to be trodden underfoot of men. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the practice at that time, when salt lost its usefulness or when it became contaminated or what we call giffy, I don't know if Marcia knows that term, when it became giffy
No.
and would cause things to rust and it was no more useful for consumption or for to preserve food or for healings because they rubbed salt into wounds. And many of you would know of when we were young and we had a nail punch or nail choke, they would rub salt or piece of salt fish skin in the nail punch or joke. They would throw the salt out on the street and people would walk on the salt. The horses and the chariots would run on the salt. It became useless.
Yes.
Another version, which is the English Standard Version, says it like this: you are the salt of the earth. But if the salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It cannot be restored. It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out. I ain't say it. And trampled under people's feet. How long will you, myself, and others remain in a state sitting down, begging for salt for all the goods and services for which we are taxed, as well as sucking salt? And I am challenging ourselves to take it with a grain or pinch of salt, whatever we hear. And when all else fail and it has lost its usefulness, what to do? Throw it out on the street and let it be trampled on the feet. Marcia, I thank you for this opportunity.
Wow, wow. When it has lost its usefulness, you throw it on the street and trample it under your feet. I think we need another protest march coming up very, very, very soon. We need to go out and trample some things under our feet. Another fantastic presentation, object lesson, and we go away, everybody go away thinking about salt tonight. Your word, your salt, we're sucking salt, usefulness of salt, pinch of salt, take it with a pinch of salt. And it's all about the salt tonight. I would love to see Rose on a platform. You know, she's also very powerful live. Well, thank you so very much, Rose. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Um, somebody say it's Wapax. Yes. Another okay, I'm back. Can you all hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So this is all. This is just seeing that this show has started to heat back up. That's what's going on. But we're good. We are not going to be defeated, guys. You know, when these things happen, they fire me up, right? They fire me up, ready to go again. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Well, you know, Rose, I want to talk to us tonight as we wait on Apostle Breedy and Apostle Scanterbury to come onto the show. I want to talk to about us tonight about a one-party state. Does Barbados want a one-party state, a one-party political system? And a lot of people might say, well, you know, we have several parties in Barbados. But we know, in effect, really, there is one party that is operating. And this particular party, well, trying to operate, let's put it that way. It's almost that this particular party doesn't want any other party to exist. And we know from a lot of things that are done behind the scenes, okay, to make this happen. So I'm just going to do, go into a short presentation and do a little continuing the education from where Rose dropped off. We want to talk about the disadvantages of a one-party system and why it's important for us to talk about that, because I was saying earlier that I just don't understand it. But for the life of me, I see Barbadians jumping up and down and excited. Oh, 30-0, 30-0, that we have demolished all parties. Nobody else have a seat. And we are excited. And Barbadians are, I mean, they're beside themselves. It's like they're at sports day and they won. Oh, Team Red has won. Team Blue won. And we are so excited. But is that really good? Is that really good for Barbados? And this is going to lead into what we're going to talk about, the DLP tonight and any other party in Barbados. But let's go to the next slide as we look at the definition of a one-party system, right? What is a one-party system? A one-party system refers to the political party system in which only one party has access to political power of the state. A one party could be de facto or de jure. Now, we know that in Barbados, over the last how many years, two elections, basically, apart from when we had the Reverend who crossed the floor, Atherley, and in February when we had Ralph Thorne cross the floor, we basically had one party that had access to political power of the state. One party, the Barbados Labour Party. One party. And my question, I am coming to Barbadians tonight as somebody who has taken Barbados, adopted Barbados as my country. Okay? And I want us to really put on our mature hats tonight. Forget about the color. Forget about the personalities. Let's think about what is best for Barbados. Can we do that? So a one party can be de facto or de jure. It is de facto. If it is de facto, it means there are other political parties in existence, but one particular party overshadows all the others. Yeah? One party overshadows all the others. Okay? So it's not that other parties. So we have Solutions Barbados is there. There is it's the UPP. There's a DLP. There are all these parties, but there's one party that overshadows all others. And it could be for various reasons. It could be for various reasons. It could be reasons that you think is legitimate. The question is what we're asking, what is healthy for Barbadians? I'm asking you that. You who love to tell me that I'm a foreigner and I don't I have no authority speaking about Barbados, even though I've been a citizen for all these years. Over 20, how many years I've been a citizen, married to my Bajan husband for 33 years. But you whose navel string was buried here, it's you I am talking to. Okay? If it is de jure, then it means by law, only one party is allowed to operate in the country. Now, in our case, at the moment, that's not what is happening. So we have a de facto one-party system. Okay? So let's move to the next slide. Let's look at some of the disadvantages of this de facto one-party system. Number one, it's undemocratic. Do you remember that word democracy? Does it mean anything to anybody? As a true-blooded Barbadian, does that mean anything? One of the disadvantages of a one-party system is that it is undemocratic. One of the tenets of a good democratic system is to allow the electorate alternatives from which they can make informed choices. The operation of a one-party system in a state does not give room for such choices to be made. Barbadians, please stop and think tonight. What is it that you are rejoicing about the Democratic Labour Party? Check your heart. Huh? Check your heart. Check your motivation. Number two, it can degenerate into a dictatorship. Another disadvantage of a one-party system is that it has the tendency to become dictatorial. In a one-party system, no room is given for the existence of an opposition party. For that reason, even if the only ruling party goes on a wrong tangent, it cannot be criticized. This can develop into a dictatorship. This can develop into a dictatorship. Where are the true-blooded Barbadians that have their navel string cut in this country? Is this what we want for our beloved Barbados? Don't we see the little what you call the rumblings of dictatorship, or the little fruits coming on the tree, the flowering? Don't you see it happening before us? Some people say, we'll go as far as say it's full blown. When we were to become a republic, weren't we promised that there would have been a referendum? Did we get it? Didn't the one political party that was leading with nobody in the opposition went ahead and took the country to a republic without asking a question? How many other things have they done, Barbados? Huh? It cannot be business as usual. I agree with your suspicious mind. Huh? It can't be. All of you can remember how they took the ability from people to vote. They took away their constitutional rights. Why did Jamaica make preparations for those that had COVID to vote and not this country? Why was this country, our leader took the longest to give up in the Caribbean or emergency powers? She held on to those things like dear life, held on to it like dear life. Don't you see what is happening in our midst? Is that what we want? I want us to stop and think about that as we are rejoicing and as we are making the comments. Where does Barbados fall into all of this? The other thing that might happen, we may exclude some experienced politicians. There may be some astute politicians, very experienced administrators in the state, whose contribution to the country's development may be crucial. Such people may not want to contribute their to the development of the or to share their idea, any kind of ideologies, anything that's different, because they know that that it would not be received. So we will have experienced people there, but their ideas are not taken into account. And I would dare say probably that's what's happening in the very party. Because now that we've seen Mr. Thorne has come out, I wonder how many other bright ones are really in there, but they are, smothered and not able to say anything. Let's look at some more disadvantages. Look at this other one. Look at the other disadvantage. People, you seen this? It tends to be corrupt. You want us, Mrs. Corbin, Rose Corbin just listed so many of the areas of corruption. We need to go back over Hope, the Hope houses, $60,000 leak out of the HCF fund, and we up till now we have not even seen a small little house. We haven't even seen a zinc fence house. We haven't even seen a thatch roof house. And this is what Barbados want, and this is what you are rejoicing about? Well, you take it from the foreigner that you call me. I'm saying to us, Barbados, not good enough. There can be no love of country. You hear I tell you? If you are rejoicing over a one-party system, none. Corruption will destroy this country. There will be no checks and no balances, Barbados. $60 million. And then we came back and tried to convince us that you spent $25 million US on the Oval. And everybody go there. Even people who are part of your own party come back and say something is wrong. 25 million US. Where in America, they took $30 million and they built a brand new stadium, a cricket stadium from the ground up in Queens. Go and check it out. 30 million they spent on that stadium from the ground up. Look at Oystins. Ask them, Barbados, where's the money? Because when we are in a one-party system, we do not have anybody to speak up on our behalf. We have the lone person in Parliament, one. And guess what? We get up and we criticize that one and we tear them down. How can you convince me that you love your country? Where is the love of country? Huh? In a one-party state, an official opposition is not allowed, especially in the de jure. Well, we know in the de facto, we now have one, right? The tendency is therefore for the government to become corrupt and to shield corrupt officials. Huh? What happened to the $7,500 check? Where is the discipline that needs to come to that member of parliament? When will the BLP decide to discipline the members that are in there, whose names are caught up in the corruption? Where is the investigation into the MP? One voice, lone voice, crying in the wilderness in the parliament since February. And I watched Barbadians try to tear down that one voice. It makes me wonder. I have to question the patriotism. I have to question the love of country if you want to tear this country apart. Don't you see how people are suffering? How people are suffering? No, all of the money. Look at the hospital. All the money that is being wasted. Huh? And look at the hospital. Look at the state of QEH. No Barbadian wants to go down to QEH. Nobody. And we pay taxes though. And we keep getting loans though. There's so many things that we have to ask, so many questions for. The last thing is that it may lead to apathy. It may lead to apathy where one party, let me see, I can read the slide. Let me make it a little bigger. Where one party perpetuates itself in power for too long and there are no alternatives so that citizenry to choose from, people become less concerned about what goes on in the country. This is what may lead to political apathy. And that's why a lot of people, they don't even want to bother to vote. Because they feel helpless. And that is what we want for our country. Is that what we want for our beloved country? Go to the next slide, please. There's an example that we have and we've seen. And we know of this country, China, one-party system in China. One party. There are other, believe me or not, believe it or not, there are other parties in China, but they have set the thing so much in such a way that they always win. They always win. This is the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese Communist Party. And what Barbadians that are jumping up and saying 30 love, 30 love, you need to ask yourself the question, what was the Chinese Communist Party doing in Barbados right there on Roebuck Street? When they visited Barbados, they did not make a state visit. They visited the Barbados Labour Party. Go and check it for yourself. Go and check where did they visit? Where did they visit? They visited the Barbados Labour Party head office right there. What do you think that they came to do? What do you think they really came here to do? This is how they're operating in a one party state. What do you think they came here to do? I want you to think about it. And is that what you want for Barbados? Is this what we want for Barbados? And this is what I want you to, between 9 and 10, I want you to call in. I want you to call in, and Dave, let it rest right there, because a lot of people, you need to understand what's going on in Barbados. Understand what is happening here, guys. And why it is that the BLP is making these connections with the Chinese Communist Party. Huh? I want you to think about it. And think about the anthem that we all sing. Huh? What's going to happen to Barbados in the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years? You sit down and think about that? Or you're going to be laughing that there will be a 30 love like it is a domino game. I could never understand that. Yeah. So guys, I want you to think about that. You think about that. Yes. And I see, and I have your questions ready. And I love to see when sometimes people, let me just address this here. Easy D, I don't know if you live in Barbados, but you really need to go and check on those loans and the interest rate on those loans. These were the loans that we were told is a low interest rate, and then we realized there were variable rate loans, variable interest rates that our prime minister, who knows so very intelligent, and we say she's so smart, that she went and got loans for us, came back and told us that were very, very low interest rate loans. And we found out later that they were the variable interest rates. That's your smart prime minister right there. Yeah. Rose, before we go to Apostle Brady, I don't know if there's anything that you want to add or to this presentation.
Yes, thank you, Marcia. Your presentation again was educational.
You're near your fan again? Are you near your fan?
Oh, sorry. Your presentation was quite educational, and it really helped us to see what a one party government looks like. But we don't have to go too far. I hope that as you shared the slides, that people were connecting the dots and they could see that we are in many ways not only by the 30 to 0, now 29-1, in numbers numerically,
Hmm.
but the very practices, Marcia, indicate that we are really a one party government. They do as they like. They they speak to us as they like. They confuse us as they like. They they disregard us as um and truly there is an apathy that has crept into to society because it is like we can't do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I am saying, Marcia, that I am not in the corner of the DLP. I think that when I say not in the corner, um my thing is I'm saying they need to get their house in order. They need to do all the things that persons are saying they should do. But I would like us as a people to start rethinking about representation and don't wait until the DLP gets it together, but say to yourself, who do I want to represent me? Who do I want to enable and practice democracy in this land? Who do I want to make things better be, enabling for us, if even not better, and make decisions based on that? Whether it is someone sent by the DLP, when you line that person next to another representative or from another party, and you see that that person embodies, enunciates, and will deliver and give the representation that we need, whether as a constituency or collectively, vote for that person. So the excuses say we don't have an opposition, the DLP isn't ready. There are many persons out there who are advocates, who are, you might have heard on the same RCA Week show, you might have heard in other forums, whether they're with the DLP, some might be on the BLP that you would say, look, this person has potential. This person, if taken out from the BLP, would and not having the Kool-Aid in the system, that person can offer the representation we
Yes.
want. We have to stop looking at one party against the other and look at individuals who are of integrity, individuals who are intelligent, and I am not talking about intelligence with a law degree or a degree in economics or a title, but persons who embody nationalistic principles and care about Barbados.
Yes.
And that is what
Thank.
I'm saying. And I'm not seeing a division of BLP, DLP, but more looking at character representation. If we don't
Understood.
make that paradigm, that shift,
Mm.
Marcia will be caught back in this same dilemma.
Correct.
and we will be seeing the things that you would have highlighted, Marcia, in your slides and in your
Yes.
presentation.
Thank you,
But
Rose.
very good presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Rose. Thank you. And very, very well said. I see Apostle Margaret Breedy is on. Good night, Apostle. How are you? I don't not sure she's ready as yet. Oh, good. Our camera is on. Oh, looking lovely.
Good night. Good night. How are you? How are you?
I am doing well. I am doing well. Good to see you tonight.
Nice to see you too.
Yes, ma'am. And it's been too long. It's been too long. I know you've been doing a lot of traveling, etc. But we are seeing so many things happening in Barbados, and today we saw. It happened late last night. We saw the how do I put it? The removal of the president, both the president and this and the secretary general of the Democratic Labour Party. And some people are there are all kinds of emotions. People are angry because they probably miss their favorite person. Some people are very happy. Some people are worried. Whether is the DLP going to be ready? Some people are concerned. Some people said 30 love. And I just did a presentation asking Barbadians if they really want a one-party state, if that is what they want, because some people are just rejoicing that this is happening and feeling that the DLP will not recover. Well, let me ask you something. You are a woman of God. I want to ask you, is it when it comes on to Barbados and you see all that is happening, what are you hearing? What are you seeing? What is it that you believe that the we're going to have a one party state? This is going to be our fate in Barbados. What are your thoughts?
Well, I have seen a lot. The Lord have showed me a lot over the years, and I'm seeing them coming to pass slowly. The church has to get itself together. If the church does not get itself together, then we will have a one state. We will have a one state because I saw that uh, many, many, many years ago. God showed me that this island is going to be ruled by China. This island is going to be ruled by China. I have seen many vision with Chinese controlling the police stations here. I've seen Barbadians. I've literally seen Barbadians under, like, they are being ruled by the Chinese government here. I've seen a lot coming. So if the church does not wake up, then Barbados is going to be, they're going to wake up one day and realize that the country does not belong to them anymore. Let me share something, and I want to help the Barbadian people. A couple of years ago, when Prime Minister David Thompson was in power, I remember going to him at the St. Michael's School before he literally won the election. And I told him what the Lord was saying. But then after that, I sent a message to him at Government House. I had a vision. And in the vision, I had the privilege of seeing papers being signed, papers literally being signed. I've never been into Government House in the natural, but in the spirit, I went into Government House. Now, a lot of Barbadians do not know that this country was sold under David Thompson. The fact is that it's for Barbadians right now. I can say a lot there, which I would not say. It is for Barbadians right now to open their eyes. So when Mia Motley came in, she had no other choice but to continue what David Thompson did. The island, so the Chinese can never stop coming here. The Chinese will never be able to stop coming here because of the transaction that took place under David Thompson. But if we had a godly woman as a godly woman, what she would do was to try to bring the churches together to be able to help the country to go back into the place where it says the uh, the people, God has been the people guide for 300 years. We don't have a godly woman. We have a woman that is continue the same trend. So it is for the church. So you have 2 years ago where the church is influenced to take a juice. So you have people that are not praying anymore, people that are not effective. So they are not very effective to in prayer to break down what is going on. So it is up for the church to come to that place to say, we had enough and we will do we had enough and we are going to go to God to help us. That's it.
Yeah. As you said, the church plays a role, and there's a role of prayer, and then there's a role where my hope is that the church would be able to not just pray, but to be people of action. And we saw even in the case with the DLP, it was Apostle David Durant who was leading the disciplinary committee. I was so pleased to see that, to see the church in motion, because sometimes we say the church needs to be in motion, the church needs to do what they're supposed to do, and so on, and to be salt. Mrs. Corbin was talking earlier about being salt and so on, and but he is doing that, and I as you're an apostle, he's an apostle as well, Duran. And today I was thinking that that is wonderful to see the church in operation, to see the church. He's an apostle, but not just in the church, but he's taking the whole understanding of order and discipline and bringing it into another environment, into the world. And I think that something like that is very, very commendable. What is it you would say to the DLP tonight? In light of just currently what is happening to them currently, what do you say to the DLP?
Um, I think what I am looking at is that there is a Haman in the DLP, and they have to make sure that Haman does not place his assassin. And I'm speaking in code here. It is for them to understand that there is a Haman that is placed inside the DLP to break down the whole DLP, that there will be one party in the country. So if they're smart, they would not allow the Haman to do this, but they will come together and be a strong party, that there will be two parties and not one leading this country.
Mm. So you're saying that they, if they could understand that there is a sinister plot, is that what you're saying? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
What I'm
To
saying,
For there to be a one party, you believe that there's a sinister plot for there to be one party.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. When you see all of what is taking place there, I don't know. I'm asking God to help me here. I think Barbadians need to wake up. They need to wake up. The country become a republic. It becomes a republic, and no Barbadians were invited. It happened at 12 o'clock in the night. 12 o'clock in the night. 12 o'clock in the night has a lot to do with what moves within that time. I think Bajans need to wake up. They should have been invited, all of those things. So when the island became a republic, there wasn't much there for the public to know about. And to me, it became a Republican secret. And up to now, the country does not know what is the real thing for the Republic. Tell the public about what is going on. I believe there is a plot to destroy that party, that one party reign. Now, when we look at after the country becoming republic, I mean, just open your eyes, your spiritual eyes. The Queen of England is moved. Who is going to be the next head? I mean, I've seen a lot. Who's going to be the next head? China. They showcase it. Actually, I don't watch Kaduman, but in the Kaduman, they said 2024 is the year of the dragon. 7 years ago, I saw the Chinese dragon over the atmosphere of Barbados. I think Bajans need to open their eyes. Very soon, your port is going to belong to China. Your airport is going to belong to China. I think they will remove that China officially becomes the head over the country. And I mean, I'm speaking from what I saw in the realm of the spirit. And I think Bajans need to open their eyes. I just think you all need to open your eyes. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And I too believe that there is a plot to for there to be a one party state. And it's not something that is all spiritual, if you know what I mean, but it is something that has been put in place for that to happen. And the sooner that not just the people in the DLP, but the sooner Barbados understands that and begin to fight for the country. As I've been holding on to this flag, this is my adopted country, and Apostle Brady, I've come to love this country, and that's why I open my computer 4 nights a week and do the research that I do, because of this country, that God has put in my heart. And this is as I said, my adopted country. And I'm saying to Barbadians, if you really believe that this is something that a plot, this is something that they're planning to do, to make us into a one party state, why do we accept it? And why do we think it's so funny? 30 love again, they think it's so funny. It just can't be funny.
No, it's not. It's not. Marcia, it is not. Let me say this to you. I think I've been seeing a lot of things concerning this country that really hurts my heart. When I see congregations becoming calypso tents, it says a lot. It says the spiritually, the country is becoming dead. And when God become the center of this country again, let me share something with you. Nine years ago, the Lord showed me that Barbados is one of the richest country with oil. The richest country in oil. Are you listening to me?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that Barbados can pay its debt within 6 months if this country really return back to the Lord. Within 6 months. I saw oil all over this place. I saw oil shooting from underneath houses. I saw oil all over this place. So the Lord showed me it is one of the richest country in the Caribbean. But I think that a lot of us have gone away from the Lord. And if you see what is going on in Barbados right now, it's all party, 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 party. There is it's party. During the crop over, I don't watch crop over, but someone sent me a dragon. You've never ever seen in a calypso during these festivities that you had a dragon being shown on the streets of Barbados. What is a dragon? It represents the devil. Are they saying that Barbados belongs to the devil now? So there is a lot of things that we have
Yes.
there's a lot of things we have to answer to God for.
Yeah. So in essence, you're saying that the church plays a role as well, and need to come together, need to pray more, need to understand the times, need to see what is happening. But I want to thank you so much, Apostle, for coming on tonight. Always a pleasure to speak with you. It's good to speak with people within the church circle, because we live here. We live in Barbados, and I just want to thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. And I know Apostle Scanterbury is finishing up church to join us a little later. Thank you so much for being with us
Thank you so
tonight.
much, Miss Marcia. Thank you.
Yes, God bless. Thank you. Bye-bye. Once again, thanks to Apostle Brady for sharing with us this evening. Now, there is just a lot of talk about what is happening, expulsion of um, Ronnie Yearwood and Steve Blackett. And there are, people saying that, oh, there's going to be trouble now. And all hell is going to break loose now. Well, all hell was happening before. And it wouldn't be the first time that somebody was expelled from a party. Why do we I saw a comment, somebody um put up a little earlier. What about Maria Agard? Yeah, what about Maria Agard? It wasn't the first time. People get expelled from parties all the time. I heard about a case where there was a time when over 31 or so persons were expelled from the DLP, and they got up and kept going. The Maria Agard was expelled from the BLP, and what happened? The party went on, and they won twice after. And we thought when that happened, everybody was all over it. It was all on social media. But you know what? We have we have such a short memory. We have a short memory of these things, right? It's not. I mean, political parties go through so much restructuring and so many changes. And that's how even the DLP was formed. It was formed out of another party. So these things, they happen, and parties go through these things. And so for me, I don't see it as the end of the DLP. Far from. Actually, what I do see it as, if I must be honest, is a cleaning of the house. And I believe they're going to breathe a little freer now. And they're going to be able to do a lot more right now, because there was a lot happening in there. And I want us to, as we wait on Apostle to join us, Apostle Canterbury, I want us to look at the structure of the DLP, because the DLP is over 60 years old. As far as I remember, 69 years old. And if I'm wrong, I know that somebody will message me. But as far as I know, the DLP is 69 years old. I mean, it's not a little pion organization. The DLP is 69 years old, and it has a structure. There's hierarchy, and there's structure. There's order, right? There is order in the DLP. It's not something that just started last week. And for those of you who are thinking that somehow this happened, it's going to destroy let's begin to understand, that it's not a party that started 2 years ago or 4 years ago. Yeah? Huh? It's not something that started, 10 years ago. Over 69 years ago, and there's a structure in place. And so let's look at the structure of the DLP. And I deliberately didn't want anybody from the DLP to be on, here tonight, right? I just wanted citizens like myself, because I'm not a member of the DLP. But I wanted citizens to come on. Rose just says that, that just told us that, she's not a member of the DLP. Apostle Breed is not a member of the DLP, right? But I want us to look at the structure of the DLP and look at what has happened. Let's look at what has happened with these two gentlemen. There's the annual conference, and that is the highest. Right, that annual conference, it's the members, right? Let me just look at get to my notes here, because I don't want to say to be saying the wrong thing. right? So for those of you who don't understand, thinking that people, they just got up and did a kangaroo kind of a thing and got rid of people, there's a structure that is a structure in the party, right? So we have the annual council that those are the members of the party, right? All the members. That's so they're at the top, right? Then you have the general council. The general council is the highest decision-making body outside of the annual conference. So let you see this a little clearer. Look at it. This is the general council. This is not, so you need to understand, this is not a fly-by-night organization. Right? See? So the general council is the highest decision-making body outside of the annual conference. And it is made up of the members. The members are the former parliamentarians. So anybody who was a parliamentarian, okay, make up the general council. There are 2 representatives from each branch. So try to imagine everybody who you've ever seen who was a parliamentarian, they're alive, they're part of the general council. Then there are 2 representatives from each branch. There are former candidates that contested the last election. So those candidates that contested the last election would make up the general council as well. Try to remember this because we're going to go back to this. Persons elected from annual conference. So there are persons that are elected from the annual conference, and they are also part of the general council. As I said, remember that, okay? Because it is this general council, that met last night. So bear that in mind. As I said, it's not fly by night. And my understanding is that the decision to remove these 2 men from the party was unanimous. Listen to who make it up. Former parliamentarians, 2 reps from each branch, persons elected from the annual conference, former candidates that contested the last election. Not a fly-by-night organization. It has a constitution. This structure comes out of the constitution of the Democratic Labour Party. Then there is the Executive Council. The Executive Council, look at who is in there. You have the officers elected at the annual conference. So remember, the annual conference is coming up next weekend, I'm told. Okay. So let's look at the Executive Council. Officers elected at the annual conference. Okay. So all the officers that were elected at the annual conference, and so that would be, like your president, and you have your first vice president, second vice president, etc., the secretary general and general secretary. I need to say that general secretary. Then you have the co-opted members by the general secretary and president. So the general secretary and the president, they have the power to bring, to get some members to be, be part of the Executive Council. Because I hear a lot of people there discussing this thing, but I don't think that the average Barbadian understands the workings, the inner workings of the Democratic Labour Party, and that it is a structured organization. Unlike some, a lot of third parties they start today and they're gone tomorrow. This is going 69 years, people. And when I did the film on Barrow, on Errol Barrow, it was so interesting to do just a study of the party and to understand how it works. And this party would have seen all kinds of issues. right? There was a Clyde Maskell when he left. And I mean, come on, people. Come on. This is a strong party. This is strong. The history. I am talking about the history of the party and the organs of the party. Not fly by night. You hear I tell you? Okay. So the executive council is, and then they have persons elected from the general, council. Okay. And they make up the executive council. And so that is the council that Ronnie and Steve, that they would have been in, the executive council. But did you hear what I said? The Constitution says, what is the highest decision-making body outside of the annual conference? What is it? We're in class. Write it for me in the comment section. Because a lot of people, some people don't want to learn anything. You don't want to hear anything. You just want to go along with what is, gossip and what. Let's stick to facts and let's stick to what is. Huh? What is the highest decision-making body outside of the annual conference? I'm not going to answer until you put it in. I'm being like Rose Corbin. I'm a teacher tonight. Okay? Then there is what is called the disciplinary committee. The disciplinary committee, elected by the general council. And I'm going to say to people, we can disagree, but we're going to the kind of name calling and what we're doing to people in the comment section. Guys, I'm warning you. And then those that are doing it, I'm going to remove you. Okay? Good. The disciplinary committee is elected by the general council. All right? And I see Apostle Canterbury, and I know he's listening, and he's a man of order. He will understand how these things work. The disciplinary committee is elected by the general council. Okay? And the chairman from the disciplinary committee must be from the executive council. So the chairman, who was help me guys, Apostle Durant, was part of this, the executive council. That's how come he was the chairman. So he came from the executive council. So they elected him and he came from there. Members of the disciplinary committee can be any member of the party. So there are other members that make up this disciplinary committee. All right. Now, good night, Apostle Canterbury. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you again for inviting me to be on your show. How are you doing tonight?
I am fantastic. I'm in a teaching mode, and I'm drawing you. I'm drawing you in before you make your commentary. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Yeah. Now, Apostle, what we're talking about is this organization, this political organization, one of the oldest in the Caribbean, that has been in existence for 69 years. And there are some people who believe that if it's not going their way, they believe they can throw a little match in it and burn it down. Basically, is what I see that is happening. Actually, I gave the analogy at the beginning. I'll say this to you before I go back to my little slide here about Solomon. You remember King Solomon, when there were two mothers and they were quarreling over a baby, and they were each saying the baby was theirs, right?
That's right. That's right.
And yes, and they were all crying. They want this baby. They want this baby. And until King Solomon says, all right, he was the wisest man. He decided he's going to take the sword, and he was going to cut the baby in two.
That's correct.
And the mother, one of them said, go ahead and cut the baby. Cut the baby in two, kill the baby. But the real mother said no. The real mother preferred for the baby to be given to the other woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I started off earlier talking about the hearts of people. Where you know what where's your what are you what were you really part of it? If your desire is to destroy it, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, and it's good, Monica. Monica is saying thanks for educating those who don't know. All right.
Correct. Very good. Very good.
And I think this education is important because they need to understand what happened last night, and that this is not a kangaroo court. It's not something that they came up with and just did. It's part of the constitution. They followed the
Correct.
constitution of the party, right? So this disciplinary committee, Apostle Canterbury, received complaints from members about these two gentlemen, the president and the general secretary. And my research told me, as I said, I didn't ask anybody from the DLP to be on the show because I wanted to do my own research. Okay.
Very good. Very good.
My research showed me, Apostle, and okay, Mrs. Corbin is still there, that they were invited by the disciplinary committee to come to a meeting, to come to a hearing,
Right.
because of how the Constitution. And they have, to date, I'm going to my notes so that I don't make up any stories. Neither of these two gentlemen attended any of the meetings that were called by the disciplinary committee. Who elects the disciplinary committee? The general counsel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the general counsel, okay, they are actually the highest, down from the annual council, they are the highest body, decision-making body. But these two gentlemen decided that they would not attend any of the three meetings. There was no correspondence based on my research, and my number is 236-7000. If my research is wrong, send me a message and prove it.
Right.
Apostle, they
Yes, ma'am.
attended none of the three meetings. These are leaders. None of the three meetings. Right? They did not send any correspondence. They were given that opportunity. They were written, and the case of what was, what was against them was sent to them. There was nothing written, nothing to say they can't attend the meeting because of A, B, C, D. I was told that sometimes what they did, the goodly pastor, apostle, who is a man of integrity, Apostle Durant, David Durant. My research told me that sometimes he would be there waiting 40 minutes before he starts that meeting, hoping that they would come. Apostle Durant, who are very close to Steve Blackett. Steve Blackett was even attending his church. And so he waited as a man of integrity, and a man of peace and order.
Wow. Huh? That's interesting.
And no, they did not. They did not turn up. 40 minutes they waited at these meetings for them to come. Did not turn up. Yeah. And they followed the constitution of the party. So nobody pushed them out. Nobody pushed them out. You have decided to defy here it is, the general counsel put the disciplinary committee together, and these two gentlemen decided. And you could cuss me all you want. Right? You could cuss me all you want. It is unless you can prove that this is not fact, you could continue. But they have chosen, and I'm not even on air going to go through the complaints. I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But to also say that these same goodly gentlemen you see here on here, they were also inside of that party planning how to bring the party down. How can you be part of something like that? And you're now also my research, and if I'm wrong, 2, 3, 6, 7,000. I deliberately brought no DLP on here because I did my own research. Do you understand? And they, Apostle, inside of, first of all, they call unlawful meetings. Right? Unlawful meetings were called, and they decided, based on my research, there were talks about starting a new party.
Wow. Interesting.
How on earth would the Constitution allow this kind of behavior? Let's be real, people. They disrespected the General Council. And therefore, and the disciplinary committee wasted the people's time. On top of that, and I'm going to say this here, and I won't say all the details, what people don't understand, Apostle, the things that that disciplinary committee had to go through. My research again told me there were people that even sent death threats to them.
Wow.
And I'm doing this tonight. The reason I'm doing this, I started off asking my Barbadian people, do you want a one-party state? Is that what you want? Don't you see the writing on the wall? Don't you see that there is other things that are operating, trying to give us a one-party state, a one-party structure in this country? Yeah. And I want anybody who runs an organization, you're calling a meeting, you dress up, take your time in your gas, waste your gas, and go down to a meeting, okay? And these two men, and you can come for me. 2, 3, 6, 7,000. If I'm telling lies, send it and prove it. Send it. Who would stand up for that? How can the party go on with that kind of indiscipline and disrespect? So I wanted to share that with the people of Barbados. Dave, can you show the hierarchy and organizational structure again, please?
Right. Very good.
And just make it smaller so people, right? And I make it so they can see how it is. It's not, Apostles Canterbury, this is not a fly-by-night organization. And so to those people who are saying that it's only trouble, it can only be trouble if they had not gone by the constitution of the party. There is no trouble. There is no trouble. This is it here in another. This note shows a relationship. Yeah. This is now showing the relationship. It's simple. Why can't you follow? Why, if you're going to be a leader, why you're above discipline? You're above somebody has a complaint. and they have no recourse. They can't go. Then you can't sit down to hear and let the evidence come out and let there be discussion and a hearing. That's all they were asking for, a hearing. And they have written to them and 3 times faster, and they never showed up. Never showed up. I know, sir. Thank you for joining, and I know you have been hearing all that is happening. I don't know if you knew all of this structure that's in the party, but I want to hear your thoughts on what has happened. Do you think that now that this is trouble for the party will be destroyed? You know, what are your thoughts?
Well, again, thank you so much for having me with you again. Um, I don't agree with the concept that this is going to destroy the party. Um, my position on this, and really looking at what is happening, is that at this time the party is in a stage of rebuilding. Okay, and the entrance of Mr. Thorne into the Democratic Labour Party, uh, it radically changed the demographic of the party. And of course, based on their laws, from what I understand, if you have an elected sitting member uh, of that party in parliament, then that person immediately becomes the political leader of the party. Okay, and by their laws, that's what Mr. Thorne actually became. So it should not have been an issue. It should not have been a question of kicking someone out to become the leader of the party. Uh, the laws clearly states how the party is run, and the party is a Democratic Labour Party. I had the opportunity years ago to speak to my cousin, who is now passed, uh, Dr. Walter Ramsey. Uh, we had numerous discussions on the mind of Errol Barrow in terms of even creating the Democratic Labour Party, because he realized that in Barbados, under the Barbados Labour Party, there was no democracy. It was, again, um, a party not of the people, but a party of the plantocracy. And it continues to be that way today. But in order to offer the people a system of democracy and to bring individuals, especially Barbados and those who are marginalized through the whole sugar industry and all of these elements, um, uh, the right honorable Errol Barrow wanted to have a party that was of the people and for the people. You know, over the years, it is, you know, played a very significant role in the development of Barbados. So I don't think that this is going to hurt the party. I think this is going to bring much healing, faster healing. I think this is going to put the party on a different wavelength and a different threshold where they can actually move forward into what they need to do leading up to the next general election. And Madam Weeks, we have to understand that when it comes to the political element and being a person, uh, you know, that understands the Bible, there comes a time when you have to make the tough decisions. And Mr. Thorne, being who he is and being the leader of the opposition right now, his place even in Parliament has allowed the
Sense
public
in
of
which
Barbados to
this so
know of
Dave,
the ills and a lot of the things that could have been easily, you know, brought into law in Barbados that the public would never have known about. So when we are, you know, talking and saying, you know, things that are, you know, discrediting him, uh, his presence there and then his 2 senators have allowed Barbadians to be on and be in the knowing of a lot of the things that we probably would not have known about. The crime prevention bill, you know, the bill in relation to, you know, bail, all of these different things, the issues of corruption. I mean, seriously, as Barbadians, we need to be more focused on what is happening with our country rather than trying to divide our nation into this and that party. So I think right now, this tough decision that was made by the the hierarchy of the Democratic Labour Party has actually put the party in a better position to move forward. I think the weeks and months where they've been at a stalemate, where these two gentlemen are concerned, and I don't have anything against them. I'm speaking from my position as a spiritual leader and as an individual that understands order, that it is critical to make those tough decisions, especially if the Democratic Labour Party is going to present a united front to the people of Barbados going into the next election. And I think this is a very good move. I'll tell you this, on the backdrop of the reality of, let's say, for instance, in the Bible, let's take a look at Joseph. The day that Joseph came out of prison, serving an attempted rape charge, the day that he came out of prison and stood before Pharaoh, Pharaoh gave an executive order that he become the governor of Egypt. Now, obviously, that would not have sat well with the political hierarchy in Egypt, but it was a tough decision to make. And he said, can we find someone in whom the spirit of the God dwells, that we can put over this matter of putting us ready for the 7 years of plenty and then the 7 years of famine? So whether Barbadians are talking, and I know they are, because one of our problems as a people is that we don't take the time to get our information accurate. We don't take the time to look at the big picture. We don't take the time to see what the future is like. And evidently, if Mr. Thorne and the executive body of the party, if they're looking at the future of the party, if they're looking at saying to Barbadians, well, we want to be a viable change of government leading into this upcoming election, and also taking Barbados into the future, then it is necessary to make those tough decisions. And even though that it might not have sat well in Egypt with the selection of Joseph, who was a Hebrew, to take over the political reins in Egypt, it worked out well. Okay, it worked out well to the point that the whole world got saved by Joseph's ingenuity and his wisdom and his skill. His family got saved, and you know, Egypt got saved, and it went on to become a global empire. And I think Mr. Thorne I think he has his head on. Okay, I've watched him. I've you know, paid very close attention to his interviews. Paid very close attention to his mannerism, his body language, even when he's speaking in Parliament. I think he has his head on. I think he knows where he's going. I think he knows where the party needs to go. And I think that there are individuals within the party that are standing with him, even though they might not be visible, even though they may not say that they are standing in support of him. But this decision has shown that within the Democratic Labour Party, within the executive body, there is unity, because this was a unanimous decision. So I would not say that this is going to destroy the party. Rather, looking at the future, I would say, you know, a fantastic move. I think this is going to bring the party closer together. I think this is going to bring the party closer together faster. Let me put it that way. And I think right now at this stage, they can actually begin the process of speeding forward into letting the public see exactly who they are and what they have to bring to the nation, that says to Barbadians, hey, listen, we are ready. We have our people in place. We are ready to be a viable and serious element of change going forward for Barbados. So you know, the person that I am, I would not see this as anything that would destroy the party at all. I think this is actually a plus for the party.
Yeah, you know, that's how I see it. I mean, I've been running organizations, leading organizations, started organizations, and people like you and I, especially when you have volunteers, you know, people come, you know, Apostle, sometimes they come, you've had probably people take half of your members and they're gone. you know, and they go and start a church just down the road, or or probably even start planning the church while they're in, like these were doing, trying to plan a party while they were in the party. I mean,
Right.
all kinds of things. I mean, and your church, like my organizations, have survived, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I am not. Um, maybe I should say this because one of the things that we must understand is that, um, like ministries are on different levels. Um, and so I have, with the help of my wife and with some of the ministers who were here prior, who are no longer with us, and also with the ministers who are with me right now, we've built World Harvest into a ministry that hears from God. So I don't do anything unless I have heard from God. Now, there are ministries that are designed for evangelism, winning the lost, getting people saved. There are ministries who are designed to help enhance individuals and bring them into their calling and purpose. But one of the elements of World Harvest Ministries International is that we're called to do the ministry of higher national salvation. And what this means is that we're designed to speak to the principalities and powers that governs Barbados. Hence, during COVID, when I was speaking, I kept telling individuals, I am not saying this by myself. This is what I I I took the time to pray um, with my wife. We asked the Lord, tell us about COVID, explain to us, show us exactly what
Right.
COVID
Remember, don't
is.
use that V word on here. Okay. Just letting you
Yeah,
know, I want to keep my channel for the people
yeah.
of Barbados. Go ahead.
Yes, right. And so I'm just saying this to help you understand that when I
Yes.
speak, I speak from the position of the salvation of the nation, the safety of the nation. And if more people had listened to what the Lord told me to say, and what I said to the nation, then we could have saved more lives. Okay. But this is what I need us to understand. And I'm not um, the kind of person, I'm not um, political from the point of view of for one party or for another. I understand the role of politics in the island of Barbados, and I think right now with the interest of Mr. Thorne into the Democratic Labour Party, I think the Democratic Labour Party has a very serious future right now. I think Barbados has a very serious future. I've had the chance to speak with Mr. Thorne personally, face to face, and it gave me an opportunity to assess his mental state, his spiritual state, and he is a man that will listen and take advice and implement the advice for the betterment of the party and for the people of Barbados. So I just want to say this, that the time has come now to actually save Barbados. We have to make sure that Barbados has a future. I believe very, very strongly that Mr. Thorne has a vision, which I know for sure, and he's implementing that vision. It is not going to please everybody. Um, not every decision that is made by a leader is going to sit well with everyone. There are people who are for you, there are people who are against you, there are people who are on the fence, who need more information, they need more elements to help them to believe, to help them to make up their minds as to where they're going to go. But as I said, I don't see this as a problem for the party. I think out of it, you're going to see a very quick resurgence of the party. I think in this move, you're going to see a lot more individuals um, who are stalwarts of the party and individuals who are, real supporters of the party, and even individuals who are fed up and tired of the type of leadership style that we've seen here so far. I think this is a pretty good move, and we'll see in a few days, in a few weeks, exactly what it will turn itself into. But again, those who know, they know, and again, I think this is a very, very strategic move by the party that is going to yield benefits in the long run.
Thank you, Apostle. And you know what? One of the things that I really I admire when I started to do the research on, I spent a lot of time today digging in and yesterday, and I thought about our own Apostle David Durant.
Mhm.
You know, who some people are trying to crucify at this point, and this man is such a man of integrity. He's been a pastor in Barbados for so many years. He was a senator, you know, and for the DLP. And so he would have been, I suspect, part of the general council as well. And they chose him. He was appointed to be the chairman of the disciplinary committee. He was also, I think, part of the executive council. And you know, with that group where with that Ronnie was part of, and so very open-minded, a fair person, somebody of integrity. Dave and I know him very well. And what we're happy for, because, you know, sometimes we complain that the church is not involved, right?
Right.
But
Right.
to see him leading this as another one apostle to another apostle, what would you want to say to David Durant tonight, sir?
Well, at this time, you know, if I had the opportunity to speak with him, first of all, I would tell him to stand his ground. And then not only from the point of view of, uh, you know, handling the situation primarily from the order of the executive body, but also as a man of God, as an apostle. The Bible reminds us that whosoever sins uh, we retain, they're retained to them, and whoever sins we forgive, they're forgiven. So there's a place where apostolic governance has to come into the reality of what's happening, and I think is very important for him to stand his ground and not just function as a member of the executive body, but also as an apostle, to speak as an apostle. And it's very important for us to understand if a man of God is speaking and you have individuals such as these two gentlemen that are unwilling to even respond to a man of God who is inviting them to a meeting, then if we have this type of behavior at the adult level, at a leadership level, then what are we leaving for our young people to do? So this is something that I think that is very, very critical. And I would say to Apostle Durant to make sure that he does everything that is within his power in this season to make sure that this situation is handled. If it is not handled properly, you know, within the reality of the disciplinary committee of the party, then handle it as a man of God. Handle it by
Yeah.
divine power. It has to be handled at some point in time. It has to be dealt with, and if they're not open to, you know, the rules of the party, then we handle it through the power of God. And I'll tell you, it's usually handled a lot faster when God gets involved.
Yes. And that's why I'm so glad, because I know that his church is praying about, you know, dealing with this thing in prayer. And Apostle Durant is dealing with it in prayer as well, because it is also a spiritual matter. And I was very heartened to know that somebody with such, you know, high integrity, you know, is leading the charge in that. And we can say, because sometimes I come on this show and I say the church is not doing enough, and to see an apostle out there, I have to give that to him. I
Yeah.
see Paul Messiah has joined, and anybody who wants to, if you would like to join to give your thoughts on what has happened, we have about 3 minutes. I would, you know, you can come into the studio and do that. If Dave could put up the link and to put the number again, and we are free to comment. Mrs. Corbin and Apostle Scandler, just quick comment so that we can give those who are calling in as much time to speak as possible. So, Paul Messiah, thank you for joining. Good night. You're muted. Paul Messiah, can you hear me?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I just unmute. Sorry. Yeah, a blessed good night to you and everyone.
Good night.
Good night,
Yes.
sir.
What are your thoughts on the expulsion of these two gentlemen from the DLP party? Do you think that this is a good move for the party? Do you think it's good for Barbados at this time?
I believe it depends on how people are looking at it, because whenever decisions are made, obviously, depending on who the persons are, people aren't going to be too happy about the decisions. But I believe change at times is necessary. My only issue is that when people like refuse to accept change, because change is necessary. Um, I made a couple notes. I don't know. I would pray that people really understand where I'm coming from. Because I'm a builder, and sometimes it is necessary to pull down things, but pull down things with the knowledge that you're going to do some rebuilding. Nobody likes to pull down, trust me, but it is a necessary thing to do, especially if you're looking to rebuild and looking for change.
That's right.
Uh, People must be mature enough to accept decisions that are not in their favor. And I believe that as we were talking tonight, you would know the measure of a man depending on how he accepts decisions. Because what I'm saying is that if you are a leader and you make decisions sometimes that go against people, when people make decisions that go against you, shouldn't you sit down like the other people that you expecting to sit down? No, I have something to share here in all fairness, and I'm saying, why did they refuse to attend the disciplinary committee to put forward their own case? Why are you asking the people to go against the decision that was made when you refuse to defend yourself? Because this seemed like a sinister move on their part. So I am saying there are three things now I have in mind. One to Dr. Ronnie and Steve Blackett. I'm saying it takes a man to walk away, even if he is right. It takes courage to walk away, even if you are right. And it takes humility to walk away, even if you are right. It, it is better to lose the battle and win the war. Do not major in the minors. And what I'm saying to both of the gentlemen is that sometimes the more dust you kick up, the more mess you make for yourself. Now, this is to Ralph Thorne. I admire the focus of the opposition leader. If the captain of a ship in stormy seas is more concerned with passengers and cargo than steering the ship to safety, chances are there won't even be passengers, there won't even be cargo, sometimes there won't even be a ship to captain, and God forbid, there would not even be a captain because he would indeed go down with the ship.
Hmm.
And now, what I have to say now is to the people, don't ever fight for someone unless you have all the facts.
Yeah, very well said. One
Sometimes,
one more minute. It's going so good though, but one more minute. Somebody wants to
yes,
call.
it's
Yes.
okay. Sometimes we can't change our minds because of choice, but sometimes our choices causes us to change our minds. And that is my thoughts for tonight.
Wow, I mean that is so deep. But let me say, Mrs. Corbin, you're still there? Any comments specifically on what Paul has just said? A quick comment, Mrs. Corbin, Rose Corbin, not there. Not hearing her. Apostle, is there any? Do you have any thoughts on what Paul has just said? And while there's a caller that's trying to call in, please call in now. Yeah, no, that Paul is finished. Go ahead, caller, and calling. Go ahead, Apostle.
Yeah, I actually agree with what Mr. Paul just shared with us. And I want to add this, that, change is only necessary when change is necessary. And right now we need change, and change right now is necessary. The reality is that what is taking place within the Democratic Labour Party is really not the Barbados Labour Party's business. Okay, this is, in my opinion, a matter of restructuring. And as Paul just said, if you have an opportunity to state your case, why would you not attend and then ask people to fight for you? That just does not make any sense at all. I mean, it's crazy to expect the masses to fight for you when you are not even fighting for yourself. So I think it's very important right now that the Democratic Labour Party, they maintain their place. I know for sure that this act by the executive body is a clear sign that the party is together. I mean, this is a unanimous decision. So this doesn't say that there are wranglings and all these different things. It's just a matter of the fact that the party knows if we're going to be, taken seriously by the public, we have to rebuild. We have to rebuild better. We have to rebuild stronger, and to maintain this level of activity within the party at this moment will not allow that to happen. So again, I mean, I love what Mr. Paul said, and I stand by what I've said so far. The time has come for things to be done on a level that lifts Barbados and lifts Barbadians up out of what we've been experiencing for the last 6 years. So the time has come for change. So
yes, Apostle, I'm going to cut you right there. Paul, thank you so much for joining. And there is someone else is on the line. Sir, this is Teroni. Go ahead and let's see if we can hear you.
Yes, good night.
Can you hear him?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Okay.
Yes, good night to the loyal opposition, Marcia Weeks, and everyone. What's happening in the Democratic Party was supposed to happen ever since, because we want a strong voice for the people of Barbados. And what's transparent in the Democratic Party is positivity going into the party. Because I was always looking for someone, but I didn't know it would happen in the near future. Ralph Torn is a great gentleman to lead Democratic Party, also take Barbados forward, because this is the era of the 40 poor people. And trust me, the poor people will really get themselves organized now, and I can see a brighter future.
So you believe you like what you see is happening in the DLP. You are not worried at all.
Well, I'm very happy and very, very proud of what happened, because I just say, when you have bad rice, you gotta pick out the rice and put it one side, because not the food is well prepared.
Yes, Teroni, I love the analogy. Well, thank you so much. Let me ask you something. Are you a DLP member?
Well, I'm a very strong Democratic Party person, and also my mother, Judy Jilts.
But are you guys members? Are you going to be
Yes,
attending
please,
the
yes,
annual
please,
conference?
yes, please. I have to go on Monday.
Oh,
For it.
so you guys are members, and so you're members, and you're saying you're happy about what has happened.
Yes, I'm very proud. I'm happy. I'm impressed.
Okay.
I am one that proud.
I'm hearing the mom in the background. Okay, well, good for both of you, and thanks for your comments. And bless you. What would you want to say to the other members of the DLP tonight?
Well, for the other members of the Democratic Party, it's ground raising. Everybody should come together for not only the party for Barbados, unite and fight the enemy.
Okay.
We need transformation of a positivity like over Barbados.
Yes.
Yeah, right on it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for calling. Thank you. God bless.
Blessings and God bless also.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
God bless you.
Wow, very good. There was another call coming in. Let me see if I can get this other person to come in. Let me see. Good night, caller.
Good night.
Good night. Can you speak up a little bit more?
Are you hearing me now?
Yes. Well, I'm hearing you. Are you hearing her, Apostle?
Yes, I am.
Okay, they're hearing you loud and clear. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Hello? While we're waiting on her, I see Judith and Clark. Judith, you're attending the annual general conference, and you are saying that you have been a member for 30 plus years. I would like to hear from Judith. Judith Ann, call to 1246-236-7000. Judith Ann Clark is saying that she's been a member for 30 years, Apostle.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, yes.
Incredible.
Yes. Paul, thank you so much. I have you still. I'm so sorry. I have you hold you captive. Thank you for joining.
It's okay.
God bless. Thank you so much.
Blessings on you. All right.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Good seeing you.
Let me see if Judith, you can use the number and call in another 3 minutes or so. Okay. Let me try the caller again. I think, Apostle, it's good to hear from the people themselves. Good night, caller.
Good night.
Yes, okay, we're hearing you. We're hearing you. And I wanted to, we're asking the question, is this a good move for the Democratic Labour Party? A lot of people, on the radio, Brass Stacks and other persons, I heard Peter Wickham and all of them, they're saying that it's a bad move for the party. And I over this side we're thinking it's a good move for the party, but I would like to hear your thoughts.
So I think that this was an excellent move by the party.
Wow.
Based on the information that we have or that we've heard, I think that the two gentlemen would have gone ahead and disrespected the process in perpetuity. I don't think that it could have gone on. Like, when would it end? It's not for the good of the party. So I believe that this is an excellent move. Let the healing continue. Let the critical work and the business of the people and for Barbados continue, because this is a really important juncture in our lives in Barbados.
And how important it is, you think, for Barbados at this time, seeing that, we only have, for so long we had no opposition, nobody in parliament, and we've been, operating on a de facto one-party state. What are your thoughts about that for Barbados?
Yeah, because the word that sticks in my head is dictatorship. And I think that the people are ready. They may be silent. I think they're scared. They feel intimidated or something. But I think that there is this silent movement. They are ready for a change if they know who it is that they're, what's the option?
Mm-hmm.
What is the alternative? Let me see who the alternatives are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're ready to vote. I believe they're ready to vote. They may not be, they're not going to come out. They're not marching, like 10,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
there are, I believe that the movement is there. They're ready for a change. They know what's going on. You can, shout and holler on brass tacks. There's nothing happening. You're just complaining. You complain too much, but they're feeling it. People know what's going on, and they're ready for a change. They just want to know who it is that we're voting for.
Mm-hmm.
What are the options? Show me the options. Let me go into the booth and do what I need to do.
Yes. And I'm asking everybody when they come on, and you can free to answer or not to answer, but are you a member of the Democratic Labour Party?
I am not a member of the Democratic Labour Party. I live in the diaspora, but I am hoping that there's some kind of there's some process that we can join the party and attend meetings, even if it's Zoom or whatever. And we have intentions of joining the party because this is important. This is important.
Yes.
We have never seen this type of dictatorship type of thing going on in Barbados. No. So
yes.
To answer the question, no, we are not, but we will be for sure.
You're not members as yet, but you will be members of the Democratic Labour Party. Well, it's great to hear, and this is somebody from the diaspora. Great to hear from you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. Did you hear that, Apostle?
That's incredible. That is incredible. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Another person from the diaspora saying we want to vote. You all need to write to Mr. Thorne and let him start to advocate for that. There's another call coming in. People actually seem like they prefer the telephone than to come into the studio. Good night. I see this is a Judy. I won't call the name. I'm not supposed to call names. Go ahead, please, ma'am.
Good night.
Good night. Good to hear you. What are your thoughts? Yes, good to hear. Thanks for calling.
Well, thank you for calling my name. I am a member and a proud member of the Democratic Labour Party. What the council did to Steve Blackett and Ronnie Edwards, they're right to do it. They had 3 calls to come to the meetings, and they didn't turn up. The right to expel them, and Peter Wickham is for the BLP.
So you're saying to people not to listen to them, and you are a member. So are you going to be at the annual conference?
Yes, I am. I have to be there.
Okay. Wow. Because this means something to you. What do you think about Rob Thorne and the work that he's doing?
He's an excellent gentleman, and I am proud that he's leading the Democratic Labour Party because we need people like him in the party.
Yes. What do you want to say to your other? Go ahead.
He's a straightforward gentleman, and I love Mr. Thorne with all my heart. He's a man to my heart. He comes out and tell you what he have to tell you, and I know that he's a man of God.
Okay. So what do you want to say to the other members of the Democratic Labour Party who would have heard all the other pundits today saying that this is terrible, the party is going to be destroyed, what do you want to say to those Democratic Labour Party members like yourself out there tonight?
Right now, this party is going to move on forward because 2 of them that was giving problems out, and this party is going to move on. Mr. Thorne is the right gentleman, as I said just now, for this party, and we need other people, and the people that is members, if they're Jews and paid up, go and make sure that they vote out this BLP party.
Okay, wow. Well, she advertising too.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Well,
ma'am, thank you for calling. It's great to hear you. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, and a pleasant good night to you all.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks.
thank you. Good night to you as well.
Yes, yes. Any thoughts there? I'm not hearing Mrs. Corbin. But any thoughts there, Miss Apostle?
Well, so far the consensus from the callers that are coming in are actually in agreement that the move was necessary, and I think even one caller said it should have been done, as they said, ever since. So
Ever
um,
since.
you're not getting that. You only get it from the other side that it's a bad decision. But you have to understand again um, that when when you have moderators on call-in programs who make it clear the party they support, you're always going to get that group of bias, rhetoric coming in, and that's what you get from the Peter Wickham show. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and again, I don't think this decision is a matter for public opinion, and
Mm-hmm.
neither do I think this decision is any of the Barbados Labour Party's business.
Mm-hmm.
And they should not uh, take this and make this a matter of political gain or use it to create any kind of political leverage um, with the people. This is a party's matter, and they have taken it upon themselves to act in accordance with their laws. And that's something that they should respect and celebrate the fact that the Democratic Labour Party uh, is doing things within the framework of the party's disciplinary committee. So I'm actually happy hearing individuals that are calling in and saying that it is an actual really great move that was made by the executive body of the party. So let's see where this goes. Like I said, I don't see it becoming anything destructive for the party. I can only see them getting up from this and building and coming back better and coming back stronger. So we'll see.
It's funny that I spoke with only today, and my husband was there as a witness. I mean, we spoke with a couple that they live in can't remember which state in the U.S. that they live in,
Okay.
Maryland or somewhere like that. And you know what? They are so excited about what happened. They're here visiting. And
Wow.
these are people that are ready to, when it's time for election, to come down to vote. I spoke to another person, and this is a farmer, and she comes down and farmer yams and so on, and then she goes back up and so on. And she told me, she said, I love Mr. Thorne. And as soon as the election comes, I just want, they say election, I tell you, and I buy my ticket. This is my best Bajan. I buy my ticket and I coming down to vote. So when you listen to the radio, when you listen to the brass tacks, when you listen to the Peter Wickham shows and the Charles Morris and all of them, you
Yeah.
wonder really, are they really, really, really about what is truth? Is that really the sentiment on the ground? You
Right.
really have to wonder, Apostle.
Yeah, I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing that this is going to be destructive to the party. And I've even spoken to individuals and in my circle about this, and they're not sensing no type of destructive element at all. I think what is happening right now, I'll go on a limb and say this: I know for a fact that the Barbados Labour Party right now is struggling. Um, I know that they are aware that the Democratic Labour Party is stronger under Mr. Thorne, and it's only a matter of time before we actually see the unraveling. Let me put it that way: until we see the unraveling of the Barbados Labour Party going forward. But this is going to be an amazing time. I think that with all that I have witnessed so far, this is an amazing time to rebuild an amazing time for the Democratic Labour Party to make sure that the public in Barbados, they know for sure what they're bringing to the table. I know there are a lot of individuals that are already behind Mr. Thorne, and I think this is just time for the wing of the eagle to be healed and to begin to soar again. So I'm looking forward to an amazing time of restoration, an amazing time of rebuilding, reconstruction, and then again for the party to reclaim their place in the minds of Barbadians. So I'm very, very happy to see this act, and I'm just laughing all the way. I'm very, very, very excited because it's time for Barbadians to see something different. Time for Barbadians to see something new, and I think they're going to see this with the resurgence of the Barbados Labour Party. I think by the time they actually do have this general conference, I think the energy is going to be there. I think Barbadians are going to see a new surge of energy, kind of similar to what we're seeing in America with Kamala Harris. I think we're going to see something similar like that with the people of Barbados and within the Democratic Labour Party. And I just want to be clear: brass tacks is just brass tacks. You can use them for a few days, and then afterwards they bend, get old, and get rusty. You got to look for new ones. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
As I told Mr. Thorne, I said to him when we have the meeting, I told him that there are people that are praying for him that he does not really know about. And the reality is that he has to have very, very strong people around him, in order to make this work. And the people are slowly but surely making their way there and taking their place. And, the bricks and mortars are being laid. And sooner or later, you'll see what's being constructed. I've always said this, that in the Bible, when you read Genesis chapter 1, the Bible tells us that everything was created in the dark. There was no light. It's only after God said, "Let there be light," that we saw what was created. So just in a few seasons to come, we will see when the light shows up what's being created in the dark. And from my understanding, no picture is developed in the light. You must develop it in a dark room. And right now, the Democratic Labour Party is doing their work to develop that picture that the public will eventually see. So let's give them a chance to do what's necessary, Bill, and not be hounding them and taking this seriously and acting funny and trying to disrespect Mr. Thorne and the Democratic Labour Party. It has a rich history. We know who founded it. We know what he did. And, strangely enough, when I was speaking with my cousin, Dr. Walter Ramsey, he told me, he said, young Scanterbury, I'm tell you this. He said, Errol Barrow never wanted free education. He said, Errol Barrow wanted freedom through education. Okay, that's a big difference. Free education versus freedom through education. Okay, and what we've done is that we've taken what he wanted, which was the people being free through the use of education, and use it as a political edge. And we're talking about free education, but they can never be free education. Teachers must be paid, schools must be built, Ministry of Education and must operate. Books must be purchased, staff must be paid. So telling children that you can ride free on the bus is not educating our children. Okay, so just a few things that I just want to add to this, but we're going to see that picture that the Democratic Labour Party is currently, working on in their dark room, and we will see the light of it shortly.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, great. I think this is great encouragement because what people have to understand, Apostle Canterbury, is that the media in Barbados, the media, we must understand this, and regardless of what we think of the DLP or the UPP or the APP or solutions, and so on. Remember that they have the media in their pocket. Then they got the media,
Yeah.
all of them, and it's very rare because I've had to deal with the media, and it's very rare that you're going to get people in there that will want to do something a little different, and you see it even at election time. You were part of a third party, and
Yes, ma'am.
you realize they give no airtime to who they don't, the people they don't want to give airtime to, they don't get airtime, basically.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, if it wasn't for Loop News and certain elements of other versions of media here in Barbados, we would not have a platform to say anything on. And again, one of my big problems in Barbados is that we don't have any investigative journalism. So what we have is a sham. And again, we're talking about Barbados being a world-class country. Explain to me, how can world-class be one television station, two newspapers? Explain to me how you can have, just three main media houses, two telecommunication providers, one electric power provider. Explain to me, how can that be world-class? Okay, I would actually like to say what it is, but it definitely isn't world-class. And what we need in our media, because again, this is making sure that the public out there, they're not aware of the alternatives. And as I said, I never had the NBKA, the New Barbados Kingdom Alliance, as a third party. I said we are an alternative party.
That's true.
Okay.
Correction. I stand corrected, sir.
Right. Because we wanted to present to the people of Barbados an alternative to what they've been going back and forth to. And again, I think it's pretty important now, especially leading up to this next general election. Is going to be very, very interesting to see how things are going to unfold. But I think, again, the Democratic Labour Party right now, they have that push, they have that opportunity to really sway the minds of the people, the young people. I think people out there, they want something, they need something new. And I can tell you for sure, the people in Six Mins here in St. Peter, they definitely need something. They need something to happen that would put them in a better position right now. So, kudos to this decision by the Democratic Labour Party, and they can only get better from here on. This is what I'm saying, and it's not even a matter of me using my spiritual gifts, okay? And I think it's very, very important. So we'll go forward from here. I think they're going to do very well.
I think so too. And when you think, Apostle, that it was a unanimous decision based on my research, and as I said, my number is 236-7000. If what I'm saying is not truthful, feel free to call me and correct me and give me evidence. All right.
Yep.
But based on my research, Apostle, that it was a unanimous decision. Overwhelmingly unanimous. This is of the General Council, the highest decision-making arm of the party. So what are you fighting? What is it what are you fighting? What are you doing? More than you have said, they have said that if they do not, if they're not reinstated, they're going to destroy the party. And how that means if you really love something,
Well, I think what they're dealing with is the shock. Okay. Um, and people don't necessarily deal with shock the same way. And it's very, very clear from the reaction and the behavior and then the response from these two gentlemen is that they haven't handled the shock of this decision maturely. Okay. And they have not particularly handled this decision as maturely as they should have. And I think that's where the public should base much of their understanding of this situation, the maturity that was necessary from them in terms of dealing with this situation. It just was not there. Okay. And if you're going to present yourself as a leader, then there is a need for a certain level of maturity. And
Correct.
That level, we did not see that level of maturity coming from them. Not that they're not, reputable gentlemen, not that they haven't done anything in the nation or for the nation. Sure, they have. But this comes down to the reality of maturity. Okay. This comes down to, we have laws, we have an executive body, we have a disciplinary committee, we have, floor membership. We understand that there is a way that the party functions, and you made a decision to just blatantly not function within the confines of this. And again, what we're dealing with here is not miscommunication. It is not a matter of Mr. Thorne being a dictator. It is not a matter of hatred. It is simply a matter of maturity. It's simply a matter of handling a situation that was fickle, a very delicate situation, and it had to be handled delicately. But it got to the point where the operation, the activity had to be swift and it had to be shocking. Now, I'm going to say this because I am, of course, you bring a preacher on a show like this, the Bible is going to come up at some point in time. I can tell you
Yes,
that.
and that's fine because we have another 6 minutes, so that's
Yes,
fine.
I'll say this quickly. We had a situation with Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, who came up and spoke against the man of God Moses. And Moses said, listen, I'm not going to get around here dealing with all this disrespect from you. He said to the people, you all come close. If you're with them, you go over with them. If you're with me, you come with me. And he said, being a man of God, he said, the earth opened up, spoke the word of God. The earth opened up, swallowed 250 of them that were over with Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, and slammed closed. It was the fastest funeral in history, the fastest mass funeral in history. And this is where, ladies and gentlemen, many times decisions must be made, and they must be made in a shocking manner. Okay. We go back, we look at Ananias and Sapphira, for God's sake. We had to make a tough decision on that. We can't let the church go forward with people we just started. We can't have folk coming in trying to rob and trying to lie at the same time. So we had the first funerals in early church, very shocking. Okay. And the Bible said fear came on everybody. So I think what they have to deal with is the fact that they did not demonstrate a very high level of maturity in this matter. And they have to deal with the shock of the decision that was made by the executive body of the party. And they just have to handle it and demonstrate that they're men of repute and, move on. But that's the reality of what's happening right now.
Yeah, correct. And to all who are saying that all hell is going to break loose and so on, no.
Oh,
no. And
no.
then no,
Oh,
all
no.
hell, no.
We're praying for Mr. Thorne. Ain't no hell breaking loose. The hell just got evicted. Okay?
I would say that too.
So
I'd say that. they will let loose on themselves, but no.
we're not going to do that. I think Mr. Thorne as I said to him, he's backed by very strong spiritual people, and we're praying for him, that he would continue to function in the wisdom of God, and function in righteousness and justice. When I spoke to him, I said, I keep hearing you use these words over and over, righteousness and justice, and those are words that I like. Those are words that I use, and so we're praying for him, and praying that the will of God and the wisdom of God would be demonstrated in his life on a daily basis. And so this is an act. Let me just say this: this is an act of wisdom, and wisdom is justified of her deeds and the deeds of her children. I don't think that they can. I don't think they can fight wisdom. You can never fight wisdom and win.
Never, never. And I want to say, with some of these threats, Apostle, that is coming out from this camp, and one of these gentlemen on here actually threatening in a very, very awful way people in the party. It's happening, and this is the kind of people that they want. And I'm speaking, and nobody told me to say this, but I'm saying it because when you hear what is happening and what they're talking about, what they're planning to do, I hear that one of them is going on some media thing overseas and all of that. Please sit down, and stop writing threats. Stop writing threats to people, because nobody's listening. Nobody. It's like the man that comes and says, "Oh, here's a stick up. It's a stick up," and people are like, "Please," and go sit down. Go sit down.
The Bible is clear on that. When I became a man, I put away childish things, and evidently, since we're seeing so much childish behavior at this point, then it leads us to consider that there is a level of maturity that has not been accepted or as yet attained by these gentlemen. So again, we're praying with Mr. Thorne. We're praying with the Democratic Labour Party. I'm not saying this because of being a Democratic Labour Party person or anything of that nature, but I know when justice has to be served. I know when my country is in danger. I know right now for sure that Barbados is in danger under the type of leadership that we have at the moment. And, I am in favor of any element that arises that is divine in nature, that says we need to do something right now to get our nation back, to put our nation on a solid footing, and to move forward with the will of God, so that every person in Barbados can prosper and live well and do well in their own country.
Yes, and with that we will stop. And somebody says here, 1 Corinthians 14:40 said, "Let all things be done in decency and order," and that is Mr. Thorne, and that is what you hear. You hear from him all the time. Talking about the process, you never hear him out there, spilling the beans and all of that. He tries, and I must commend this general counsel, because you did not hear a peep out of anybody. Somebody was born, but nobody. They don't go to the media. And that's how it was done in the right way. I really admire that. And I admire the disciplinary committee as well, led by Apostle David Durant, a man of integrity. I really admire that. And I want to say, those of you who know to pray, continue to pray. Don't fight it in the natural. Because as long as our aim is that we should never have a one-party government, a single party government, never. Whether it is you're going to decide you're going to vote for Solutions Barbados, you want to vote for what's the other one? I don't know if it's UPP or APP at this time. UPP, I don't know what it is. You want to vote for the Democratic Labour Party, whatever you want to vote for, but there should not be no one single party in Barbados. No, there should not be. Amen. All right, Dave, take it away. Dave, let's play our closing. The closing. They want to play Mr. Thorne. I think they probably will appreciate that. And then that's one. We're not playing any other songs. No other songs. Okay, Prophetess is saying here.
Just days after former government backbencher Ralph Thorne crossed the floor, he's taken the oath of office as leader of the opposition.
And more will be left over. Are these trips so important? Yes, I'm for real, member. I am for real. Don't let me talk out your business. Don't let me talk out your business. All right. There has to be some order here. The Minister of Finance is not party to this present transaction, Your Honor. Ask him to keep quiet, please. And I say to you further, Mr. Speaker, that my conscience, my location here is related to my conscience. I said it last year. It is well with my soul. Take a wine on the right side, take a wine on the left side. And I can't decide, so I'm moving with the tide. Cause I'm ready to mash up the body. Oh gosh, I can mash up the body. So let me do this now. Cause I'm ready to mash up the body. Oh gosh, I can mash up the body. Yeah, and let me go now. Cross the floor, cross the floor, cross the floor. Let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne, Ralph Thorne. On the other side, cross the floor.
My man, so whether he cross or in cross, he will always be there for us.
I came to a point where I had to take the decision that if my philosophical and political views do not accord with those of government in terms of its legislation, in terms of its policy, the relationship becomes untenable.
All right. Good night. Thank you, Apostle. You stayed so long with me. Thank you so very much. God bless you. Thank you so much. And we hope you can join us again soon. You were just here the other day. You're back again.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's hope you can join again. Thank you. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.